the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special, previewing the Presence Summit. This is Tim Albright with an AVNation special. What we're doing is we are previewing and presenting the very first annual Presence Summit happening the 15th of July. And with me to talk about it is my buddy, Mr. Paul Richards from PTZ Optics. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And before we get started and going too far here, full disclosure and kind of something cool. You guys have invited me and some friends of mine to speak and be a part of the Presence Summit, also part of the partners event as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, the one thing here is you guys have an entire day's worth of content here talking about this push to video, right? And this proliferation of video first and how not only integrators, but also end users can benefit. What was the overarching theme or the driving force behind presenting this Presence Summit?
Well, we from the very beginning, we partnered with Zoom, we partnered with Starin Marketing, and what we found and what we were thinking and we were seeing is just hundreds of millions of people starting to use video communications for the first time. And we're helping our customers. We're watching Zoom grow massively, and all the Zoom bombing and everything happening. And we go, you know what the world really needs right now is to take a step back and think. Hundreds of millions of people using video communications. Is there any professional development specifically for online communications? And Bill Mullen, such an innovative guy and forward thinker in the industry, he's talking with even pro AV integrators, and I won't name names, but $100 million, $200 million pro AV integration companies. And he's going, even your own salespeople and employees who are helping your customers implement video communications, have even your internal teams ever spent any time on professional development for video communications? And yes, we've done training on how Zoom works and how to implement cameras and microphones, but have we ever really taken a huge step back and said, the subtleties and really done a full day of professional development? So it was really clear, and it became really, for us, as for our partners in the industry and our integrators and dealers that we work with, we said, this can rise the boats for everybody. Not just generate a ton of great end user demand for our professional audiovisual integrators that we are working with, but rise the boats and make everyone more successful with video communications.
Let's kind of drive down here and talk about some of the speakers you've got, because you've got some executive level speakers. First off is Joseph Pine, author of The Experience Economy. That book there, multi-million dollars New York Times bestseller, that drove a conversation in not just the corporate community, but also in AV. Would you talk about experiencing AV and creating that experience? What was the thinking behind leading off with Mr. Pine?
Well, and I think we've seen this in the pro AV industry, but we've certainly seen this across corporate America and really the global business community, is a move from just goods and services to really trying to add higher levels of value and ultimately an experience that customers feel around your brand and dealing with you. And again, Bill Mullen said, Paul, you got to read this book. A lot of what you're doing with live streaming and video communications, it's hitting the mark when it comes to adding an experiential layer to the products and services that your business offers. This is something that Nike does very well. Do you buy a Nike shoe for the rubber sole, or do you buy it for the feeling that it actually makes you a faster runner? And Starbucks, they're selling 20-cent coffee, right, with the 20-cent coffee beans, but you're paying $5 for the experience of that Italian bistro. What we kind of came to thinking, Joe Pine, Experience Economy book, international bestseller, we said, Joe, would you mind being our keynote? Because we think we can apply the experience economy to almost any business using video communications and breaking down what you can do. How can you deliver a higher level of experience through video communications? And the wide-reaching effects of that are quite massive. And many, many people have seen Joe Pine keynotes before. He's well known for delivering really game-changing keynotes, one of the top business authors in the world. And we thought, if we can get him, everyone's going to rally behind it. And that's when Zoom jumped on board and said, this is exactly the kind of thing we want to promote to our customers. They're dealing with a massive, boom in their business, but also additional scrutiny from the media. So they're going, wow, professional development for our customers, a keynote speaker from the business world that can apply to almost any business. And so they joined us along with many other companies as well. And Joe Pine really, once you get that really big name keynote, everything kind of falls into place when it's come from an event planning perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll cover the rest of the speakers here in a second, but I want to focus on something that actually you as a speaker, but something you said about Bill Mullen and highlighting kind of what you've done. Talk for a second. If folks aren't familiar with, Paul Richards, personally, or the Stream Geeks, which is your YouTube channel, but you work for PTZ Optics. Talk for a second about how you've been able to take video and a video first mentality and parlay that into a successful business development strategy.
Well, that's been a very interesting wave to ride. And essentially, instead of just telling people about the product, we show them how to use it. And we use all of our products in a weekly live show. And so it's really fun because we can, it's about the behind the scenes. What software are you using? What hardware are you using? How are you presenting? And so it really made a lot of sense for us because we sell live streaming cameras, to have a live streaming show with our own products. So we eat our own dog food, if you will. And then it doesn't really become so much about your product or service. This is the idea. It's about the experience. And so people join our live show and they see 100, 200 people watching a new product release, and they see the chat room and they see how exciting it is. And they say, that's the experience that I want to implement at my company. Experiences, positive experiences. That's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants their customers to have a positive experience associated with their product, service, and brand. So that's essentially what we've done. We're using our products and our services, which essentially our service is breaking down how to do all of this, which for many customers, whether you're in marketing and sales, in engineering and broadcast, a lot of this stuff is new. It's brand new. So there's a lot of opportunity. We've hit some home runs from an SEO perspective where we're saying, here's how to use OBS with Zoom. And, I published that video 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's at 250,000 views on our Stream Geeks channel. The phones are off the hook. And this happens all the time. And I'm telling you this now, this is not a secret. We're not hiding secrets of our marketing strategy. We're giving them away. That's part of the experience of our brand. And so customers continually come and watch our videos, join our live streams, because we have this kind of sharing mentality where we're saying, hey, we're in the midst, we do this. We don't just push boxes. We do this. We're a partner with you. And that whole shift has led to massive community growth on Facebook, large numbers of subscribers on YouTube. And the numbers don't matter. It's connections that matter. And we've made a massive amount of, I think, high quality connections, not just with dealers and integrators, but just end users across the world, which creates the end user demand, which we filter to our distribution and reseller partners, which of course they appreciate.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned the fact that you're not hiding this. You're not hiding it. You're front and center. You're going to show folks exactly what you've been doing. We mentioned Mr. Pine. We mentioned you also talking with us is Fatima Doman talking about sustainable high performance. And you mentioned the Zoom and the fact that over the last 3 months, they have quite literally exploded. Well, with growth, with user, but also with some amount of scrutiny as more users, right? More folks are finding some stuff and they're having to adjust to that and address that. But when it comes to Fatima, what are we talking about when we talk about sustainable high performance?
Yeah, and I'm so happy to have Fatima Doman on our speaker list as a keynote because we've got Joe Pine coming in with the high level business conversations. We're going to do breakout sessions on Zoom where we can apply specific industry knowledge and case studies. But Fatima, and I'm going to say this, and I know she would be okay with this, is kind of the touchy-feely kind of strength building exercises. She's an internationally known speaker. Her latest book is Authentic Resilience. And so at a time when, the economy is not looking so hot right now, right? We're going through a recession. Let's be honest here. The good news is that video communications is actually exploding, right? So there's opportunities as well. And so what she's going to help us do is find our own strengths and find how we can become high performance, not just at home, at work, but also at home as a full person. So we recognize that when we're doing professional development here, if we want this to really to impact people's lives, yes, we can tell them about video communications, the latest Zoom features. Zoom is going to has 2 different panels that they're really kind of going to be, well, I guess we'll talk about them in a moment, but great panels and all of that. But we want to have a keynote speaker who can help us interact with that knowledge and unpack it in a way that is personalized, where we can do strength building exercises and really drill, like, for example, like the foundational, like what makes you unique, what makes you strong, what are your strengths? And as a communicator, how can you understand your unique communication skills and sense others, right? What's Tim's communication style? And when I'm talking to Tim, how can I make sure that my communication style is not conflicting? It's actually, synergenic. And so having that type of person on our keynote speech is really going to help, I think, those folks who might not be so interested in the video communications, the PR agents, the marketing coordinators, and also having a strong female, I think, is going to really round out the professional development opportunities for wider audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quickly, if you go to the presidentsummit.com, there's actually an online communication assessment tool, so you can see exactly what type of a communicator you are. A couple of things here, and we talked about Mr. Pine and Fatima. They're having their own breakout session together, right? So you can choose to go into their breakout session. You mentioned Zoom is going to have a couple of panels. I'm lucky enough to be on one with one of the folks from Zoom. Talk about the importance of having what could arguably be the #1 soft codec video collaboration platform on the planet right now as a part of this President Summit.
Well, it's huge because, we've been working with them to build this, and, there's a lot of webinars, there's a lot of virtual events. And luckily, I have done about 4 or 5 virtual events. We have a really popular one called the Worship Summit in the House of Worship space. We did one to replace the NAB show, or at least to hack the NAB show we did. And we've done some of these, and we've done the process of, here's a live stream with an engaging full day of speakers, and then also having a Zoom conference as well, so that you can upgrade the experience of watching a presentation and then get personalized, face-to-face, 2-way communications that you simply can't do via live streaming. So Zoom was immediately attracted to that. They were like, this is exactly the type of large-scale events that, and Zoom is really becoming, this is not necessarily their goal in the beginning, but they're being used for events all the time. And I know that they're recognizing the need for Zoom to be used for events. And so working with Zoom and the team there, they're asking us to really be like a case study for how can Zoom be used in combination with live streaming, right? We still want to maximize exposure on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, these massive social media networks where we have large followings and the shareability, but how can we really place Zoom in a spot where it shines with the 2-way communications and the breakout rooms and the personalized attention that you can give event attendees in that space. So we're designing this conference so that each presenter can leave they have a time limit. You're going to have a time limit, whether it's 20 minutes or 45 minutes, and say, all right, audience, if you'd like to follow me into an engaging experience where we can do exercises and small group breakout sessions, come to Zoom. And that's what Zoom is so great for. So we're taking it really beyond what I even thought we would do, which is, I don't know if you know this, but Zoom almost has a unified communications chat application as well, with channels that are similar to Slack. So we're using Zoom really to its fullest extent. And Zoom is really coaching us through that, because we're taking this a lot further than I have ever before, creating, every professional development attendee will get access to the Zoom chat, and we'll have channels for different verticals so that we can have like a live collaboration going on during the event through Zoom as really an upgraded experience that you would normally find on YouTube or Facebook, still engaging, live stream viewers, because that live stream could have 1 million viewers, right? It's totally scalable. On the Zoom session, we're keeping it small, private, right? So that we can have small group experiences that can really be impactful for those who want that upgraded experience.
Absolutely. This is happening July 15th, 9 a.m. to 5:30-ish. We say 5:30-ish because our good friend, Mr. Chris Netto, will end the day with a virtual happy hour. It's one of the things that Chris has kind of become known for the last 2 or 3 months. I'm not sure exactly that he started out or aimed for that, but whatever. A week before, though, on July 8th, I want to talk about this for a second before we wrap up. You're hosting a channel partner event, a channel partner webinar, happening 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, I'm lucky enough and privileged to be a part of that as well. Talk for a second and to the integrator, to the partner that's going to be coming to this. What are they going to get away? What are they coming away with this specific event?
Well, we think this is a great opportunity for our channel partners to kind of understand the new type of conversations you can have with customers across all verticals who are implementing online video communications. There's a good and the bad to this big boom. I mean, from an AV integration perspective, people are going right to Zoom, right, and buying directly. And traditionally, 5-10 years ago, pro AV integrators had a little bit better control over the conversation that was being had regarding implementing video communication. So there's a lot of adaptation that needs to be done, and adaptation is going to be key for survival in this brave new world of video communications, where I would say billions of people are using video communications on a day-to-day basis. We've got over 300 million just on Zoom. I mean, you can throw Google Meet, Skype, all of the other tools in there, and you've got lots of people using this stuff. And we want to try to reframe the conversation that professional audiovisual integrators are having around things that are value adds, not just AV as a service, but higher level conversations that like Joe Pine is going to have. And so we want to prepare you guys for that, and also understand behind the scenes how these virtual events are being set up. Because if we believe that if you're clued in on the software we're using, the hardware we're using, the way that the virtual event is being set up, our professional audiovisual integrators can get the most out of this event. We'll also be giving away free professional development passes to our channel partners at that webinar to attend, because we want them to have these conversations live. If you've got a key salesperson or someone who you're saying, this person is really adept with Zoom, they're kicking butt, let's get them to understand the higher level conversations that customers are wanting to have. And maybe your professional audiovisual sales team hasn't yet been trained on how to have these high level communication things. A lot of the Zoom employees are having higher level conversations with customers that the pro AV integrators are not yet having. And so we're trying to bring everybody up to speed here. And so we said, hey, this is a great end user facing Presence Summit. Let's a week before make sure that our channel partners are prepared for this so that they can get the maximized value.
Absolutely. There's over 200 at last count, 250 soft codec platforms, right? So having everybody understand, how to use this properly. So let's take a second to kind of break this down. The July 8th webinar, who should go to that, and who's going to get the biggest benefit out of that one?
So I do think that anybody in the pro AV space who is trying to generate more business in online communications, we're going to try to give you guys the approach that you can take to many different verticals, whether it's marketing, sales, HR, all the way from IT. We have a really great approach where you can gain the blessing from the CIO, right? The Chief Information Officer, some of those top guys, gain their blessing to go down and have these higher level conversations with the teams that they support, and then go back to that CIO with a report on what type of technology they need to implement for online communications. We're doing this obviously in partnership with Starin. So I represent HuddleCam HD and PTZ Optics, and we're really just a small part of that story. So Starin and obviously our pro AV integrators bring a full value to the customers. And so what we're trying to do is prepare you guys for conversations that are a little bit higher level that I think that will lead to much larger deployments of online communications in the long term. So this is not, let's sell one, let's sell more boxes. This is let's add more value.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And the President's Summit, again, is July 15th from 9 o'clock Eastern all the way through 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern. Depends on how long you guys want to drink. But for those folks looking for those professional developments, looking for listen to Mr. Pine, listen to you, Fatima, and all the great panels, who's going to get the biggest benefit out of that day?
Well, you can always watch the live stream, and it's all going to be recorded and it's all going to be published online. So if there's a specific speaker that you want to see, the whole schedule's posted. And again, I know everybody's busy, so this is all going to be made available on demand that you can watch it later. But what does happen live in the moment are those Zoom breakout sessions. So, when we're talking to Joe Pine about redefining the experience that you deliver to your customers, that's one that you're going to want to tune into, and you're probably going to want to jump into those breakout sessions to hear what other customers are doing. How are they redefining their entire approach to the way that they interact with their customers? I mean, it's incredible, the stories that come out of this. You could be a lawyer who once practiced in a small town and is now doing the entire state because Zoom, a light bulb went off and they said, I can just meet with people with Zoom. And now I have a much larger, customer base. The stories are coming out of the woodwork. And I'm so happy to have multiple people from the happiness crew, is what they're called, from Zoomtopia, to be part of this because they have great stories to tell. They're in the midst of all of this. And, we want our professional audiovisual integrators and channel partners to get into this mix. And, I understand that everyone's transforming their business right now, but there's massive opportunities. And so we're trying to accelerate this for anybody who's interested in online communications and fill a massive gap, which I truly believe is professional development for all of this stuff, so that we can kind of add that value and be the glue in between the tech. It's just so interesting, Tim. And I know your presentation is going to be on the return to the workplace. And, so you're just attending this event, you're going to get such a great view in a time when I think there's a lot of confusion. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing is, and we're going to hear from two really great at the Partner Summit, two really great AV professionals, in Mark Coxon and Charmaine Torella. I get to hang out with some folks at Zoom during the President's Summit as well. But when it comes to what folks need to do, right? And yes, there's a hierarchy of, when you realize you need to do video, right? And you realize that this is something that you should implement into your business. I'm not talking about integrators here. I'm talking about, Fortune 500 companies and the education facilities and even the small and medium businesses throughout the country. Then at that point, you look to who you have around you, right? And you're looking at a Zoomer, you're looking at a millennial, you're looking at 20s and 30s here, and go, okay, how do we do video, right? And the answers will vary, whether it's FaceTime or Google's or Zoom or whatever. But then it goes beyond that. Say, okay, now how do we make a business out of this? How do we connect? How do we communicate with our clients and our customers that either don't feel comfortable coming in or quite frankly can't come in because of the different restrictions throughout the states? How do we do that? Well, that then is taking it beyond, most likely, the people that you have around you. And that's where the audiovisual professional can come in and guide you. And they don't physically have to be there. A lot of times, if we're installing new gear, yes, there will be some of that, and there are safety measures that they can take, but they can at least, walk you through and consult with you on how you take it from the, I recognize that I need this, to this is how we implement it, both professionally, but also effectively.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'm so excited. I mean, we don't have time to go through the whole speaker list, but we've got speakers from the top universities, top businesses, top integrators, top business thought leaders, speakers. So it's going to be great. And like I said, I know everybody's busy. So if you can carve the time out, it's going to be really valuable. If you miss a couple things, don't worry. It's all going to be recorded. It's all going to be published on YouTube. You can rewatch it, take notes, and I know it's going to be valuable for everybody.
All right, very cool. Paul, how do people sign up for it, get notified, or even go back and watch it? You said YouTube is where we're going to watch it later, but how do we sign up for it and become a part of it on July 15th?
So presencesummit.com. And presentsummit.com/partners if you're an AV integrator and you want to get in on the July 8th partner webinar. There's professional development passes available and then free tickets for the live stream, obviously. Be part of it, join. And I think that for a lot of sales folks and people in the industry who want to learn this new conversation, joining those professional development passes and getting into those breakout rooms, you're going to be able to mingle not just with top business leaders and colleagues, but end users who are going to be telling you their transformational stories about what's happened in the past 3 months. I mean, this is perfect timing for something like this. We're returning back to the workplace, and we want to capitalize on the past 3 months. I think that people have been incredibly productive over these past 3 months. A lot of people were worried, working from home, what's going to happen? I think it's becoming the new normal, and the statistics are out. So professional development is totally key into this. So take some time to invest in yourself. Carve out some time on July 15th to do this. You won't regret it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can find them at presentsummit.com. Mr. Paul Richards from PTZ Optics. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
And for us, you can go AVNation, go by our website and follow along as we also not only speak, but also attend the President Summit July 15th. And we'll also be a part of the Partner Summit July 8th. We will put the links to both of those on this episode's website. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. That's all the time we have for this AVNation special.